As you just noted, an American Air pilot has tested positive for coronavirus. Joining us now on the Squawk Newsline, Dennis Tajer. He is the chairman of the Communications Committee of the Allied Pilots Association, the union of American Airlines pilots, and a pilot himself. Dennis, I hesitate to think that this is a solitary case among pilots. And I would imagine flight attendants as well are at risk, and it brings up new questions about what the airline industry needs to do in this world we live in right now.
Well, clearly it does. And on your program, and I know Becky's spoken of it since our interview, we talked about the protections that we lacked at American and that gave our pilots great concern should they test positive, as we have heard in this particular case. So the good news is, while our management team was resistant to provide those protections on up to about 24 hours ago, now there's positive engagement on that. So the name of the game on this for our employees on the airplane and actually at the gate is that there aren't any onerous disciplinary actions taken if they are feeling uncomfortable coming to work, or if, as a matter of fact, just sick. Stay home if you're sick. And other work groups do have point systems, so that can be a form of, during normal times, a management desired leverage point for employees. But we're in extraordinary times, so we're hopeful that this type of clearing of the deck, those types of policies will be rescinded. And, you can't just make an isolated decision and work well with one work group and let the other carry this thing through. So we're seeing positive action. Obviously, it's changing every day, but we'll be looking for that going forward during these very serious times.
I don't know if everyone has really thought of the pressure that not only pilots but flight attendants feel to show up. I mean, if a pilot doesn't show up for work, how many people are affected? So you would say, in general, that if you have like what seems like a cold, or if you're symptomatic but it doesn't seem that serious, you probably go to work as an American Airlines pilot, or as a pilot in the industry, or even as a flight attendant, Dennis. And how do you change that in what is now a totally different situation? And that's what you were actually looking for, I guess, from management.
You bring up a great point. And for pilots, every flight, I have to check off a box on our flight planning that I'm fit to fly. It's an FAA requirement. So if I have anything that's distracting me of body or of mind to fly the aircraft safely, I cannot engage in that flight. Our flight attendants obviously are frontline defenders in safety. If we have to evacuate the aircraft or just taking care of our passengers, they don't have that self-assessment, but they have that responsibility. Gate agents now, same thing. Think of all the contact you have with your gate agent. So we have to think of this as an entire system. And anybody if you're sick, stay home. If you're uncertain, then stay home. That's the idea of controlling this. So policies that work against that, maybe not by intent, have to be fixed.
Do you get paid if you don't go in, though, in any of those situations?
You do have a sick bank. Most of the airlines do. In American, we do as well. But it's kind of like if you have a bank, but there's someone standing at the door saying, if you use this and we suspect you're using it without rightful cause, there's going to be punishment. You have a tendency to stay away from the bank. It's just human nature.
Dennis,
so we want those things removed.
Dennis, how concerned are pilots in the industry, one way or the other, about some of the speculation, and the president's even hinted at it, if there's a need to effectively shut down even more travel inside the United States?
Well, it's a serious concern, but controlling this is the number one game. So we'll let those with the direct stream of information from the White House onto the CDC make those decisions, and hopefully working closely with the airlines, because this is something that's going to take all hands on deck, and certain decisions will be made that will be called to question. But not an endorsement of any particular action, but we'd much rather have a conversation after about we kind of overdid it then versus we didn't react. So that's how we act in a cockpit. We do things conservatively because the consequences are very serious. And And I wanted to add one more thing. Delta and American and other airlines are talking about the efficiency of these HEPA filters, and they're correct. They're extraordinary, but they have to be actually running. So at American, we're very pleased that they directed pilots that while we're on the ground and you're boarding the aircraft, that we have those systems on. So it sounds nuanced, but it's everyone looking at every area that our passengers may be
You used to not have those on because of efficiencies, but now you have them on. Now you do have them on?
That is correct. It's actually in our checklist not to start the unit that creates the airflow for that until 10 minutes prior to our departure. And that is for efficiencies because the aircraft during normal times is a safe environment, but under these extraordinary times, as Boeing has recommended to run that system anytime folks are on the airplane. Now we have clear direction. I, as captain, have always done it just out of a comfort, but now we have it as a broad-based policy.
Dennis, always appreciate you spending time with us and helping us understand the nuances of all of it.